Hi, Jason. Thanks so much for doing this interview. Could you start by sharing with everyone your name and your current position?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Allison. My name is Jason Harper. I'm a private mediator and ADR consultant for the Los Angeles County Office of Education.
And if you could tell everyone a little bit about, how you got to this position, what your career path has looked like in ADR.
Oh, goodness. My career path in ADR took a rather curious route. There's a huge backstory. I started off as a teacher and working in education, and I did that for a few years. But my dream was to become an attorney, and so trying to be smart about it, I decided to go to paralegal school and be a paralegal for a couple of years and see if I really liked that field, and I did not. So it was a rude awakening, and I realized that the just base adversarial nature was not something that fit my personality or just the way I grew up, and I had a much easier time just talking to people and talking things out. So I remember a position I had about 60 cases on my load, and I managed to just take care of a good majority of them just getting on the phone and just talking to these people and just well, let's try to work this out. And so that kind of put the seed in my mind, and then I learned about mediation, and I gave it a shot, and I was trained at Loyola Law School in downtown Los Angeles, and I absolutely fell in love with it from the first day, and then I went to a couple of meetings and trainings and speaking engagements with Leonard Riskin, who is a renowned person in the mediation field, and really, like, I was watching him speak and just talking about mediation, basically just talking about my life, and I was almost moved to tears just hearing about it, and that's when I really, like, it hit me, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm convinced, and so from there I got a position as a mediator with the Los Angeles County Bar Association, and I was a community mediator for them, and I would help them with their peer mediation programs at their middle school and high schools. And that was honestly the best introduction for me, because the best way that I learn is to teach it to other people, and so to teach it to students, it was a perfect marriage of what my previous life was and my new life, so to speak. So I was doing that. I was working with peer mediation programs, and then on the other hand, I was also doing community mediations, landlord-tenant disputes and the like. And I was doing it at this community center, and I was, sitting with another mediator who was the main supervisor, and she was a great mentor to me, Deborah Thomas Beasley. And so she and I talked a lot about what direction in mediation I wanted to go to, because it was very discouraging, because I saw that a lot of the paid cases and a lot of the careers were coming out of the litigated case, and those litigated cases were only going to a certain number. In Los Angeles, they only go to like a certain number of mediators who have been attorneys or they're retired judges, and it's all going, like, 80% of the cases are going to the same 20% of the mediators and attorneys in Los Angeles. So that could be very disconcerting and disappointing. So we were talking about what I should do, where I should specialize, where I should make my niche. And so she said, why don't you do, special education and just go the education route? And I honestly had not thought about it, because when you're trained at a law school, you're automatically, assume that you're going to a litigated case. And I hadn't even considered going back to my roots, so to speak. And so I started going into that direction, and going out and seeking out people, mediators that were working in education and the like. And some were very, very helpful. Some weren't as much. It's kind of like the old West. It's the gold rush. You're trying to find gold. You're trying to find land. You're trying to find something. And there are some people along the way that will help you try to find that land and find that gold, and we can look together. And then there are some that are very territorial. And so, just I stuck with the people that were very helpful, and one connection led to another, and I managed to. A colleague of mine sent an opening for an ADR consultant for the LA County Office of Education, and I sent my stuff in, and they called me back within, like, 3 hours, and it just went from there. So I was very, very fortunate to go on my own and become a private mediator because the courts started closing down in Los Angeles County, and so that kind of forced a lot of people to just go out there and try to do something on their own, as opposed to waiting for the courts to bring cases to you so you can get paid cases and whatnot. So I struck out on my own. I'm now doing speaking engagements and private mediations, as well as doing ADR consulting for the LA County Office of Education, which also includes trainings, IEP facilitations. IEPs are individualized education plans for the special education, area, and and just talking with different school districts. I consult for 12 districts and 23 charter schools, which keeps me very busy, but I love it. I absolutely love it, and it was just having the right people around and having the right mentors and the right positive people to steer you in the right direction.
You're sharing some things that I'm hearing as a theme in a lot of these interviews, and one of the things I want to highlight is just that word fortunate. Like, a lot of people use the word fortunate. I was fortunate to get this position. I was fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, and I guess I just wanted to see if you could talk a little bit more about why you felt so fortunate. So what is it about working in ADR that makes you feel thankful?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons why I'm fortunate, or feel fortunate and thankful to be in ADR, and my position in ADR. One is because, like I said earlier, I feel like it's a life calling. Alternative dispute resolution is something that really speaks to me and my personality, and just the way I grew up. I grew up the third out of 6 kids. I've been an unofficial mediator my entire life, so it was a full house and conflicts all over the place. So that was my initial training. So ADR was, it's been a calling from way back. But I'm also fortunate to be in the position that I'm in because in Los Angeles County, mediation jobs are so scarce. It's really, you honestly have to create your own position in a lot of cases. And so to create your own position and to actually have people that want that service from you specifically, a lot of things have to go right. A lot of things have to go right. So when all of those things fall into place, finally, after months or years of trying to figure yourself out first, then figuring out what the public might want and how those two come together, a lot of things have to fall into place. And then that's not even talking about the public actually finding out that you exist and wanting your services. That's a lot of things have to go right. So for all of those things to fall into place the way it has, for me, I consider myself very, very fortunate. So.
Yeah, no, that idea of like you said, things have to fall in place. So the right place, the right time, you had said before as well. And I've definitely used that phrase in describing my own career path. So what advice can you give to others to create that path, to find those moments where they'll put themselves in the right place at the right time so we can be a little more purposeful if possible?
Well, my advice would be to, one, know yourself. Know what it is that you really enjoy. Find an area that you're very, very passionate about, because when you're passionate about it, you won't get tired. A lot of times we go to what we think will be the right thing or what we think will be most profitable when behind closed doors and when nobody's watching, we could really care less about it. And when that happens, you get really tired, and it's more likely that you're going to quit or give up. So find something that you're passionate about and find that first. Then try to surround yourself with people that have been around longer than you have, and that have that experience. And some of them can be very jaded. I'll warn you right now, some of them can be very jaded. You have to get past that. You have to get past that and find the nuggets of real wisdom that they have, and run with it. And from there, get creative. Get creative. Find ways to put yourself out there and get your name out there and get people to understand that you exist and you are different from everybody else, and we all are. And there is a market for everyone. And so once you do that, I think you'll be okay.
I love it. I think that's fabulous advice. You follow your passions, know who you are, what's going to make you happy as you're pursuing this career. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jason, for taking the time to do this and sharing your story, your inspiring story.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.